Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from passionate Reds, only on All for United.
Oh man, hearts in mouths again. Saved by Ronaldo yet again. 1-0 win. We can take a few positives from that. Obviously the clean sheet, that's what he'll be looking to deliver a little bit more. But the pressure was pretty terrible today. Good to have you all on. Thanks for joining. Get your comments in. Neil, it's been a long-awaited time, mate, and I'm pleased you're back. The Messiah himself. Creating fires everywhere. Me putting them out. Marcus coming in now.
I've taken your calls, Mark, finally. And
yeah, yes, thank you, mate.
I'm back this week.
I was starting to get a bit worried, but I appreciate it. Thanks very much.
I'm sorry for getting ill. I can't apologise for my illness.
I've been ill so many times recently.
You know me so well.
I do. Neil, talk to me. Tell me how you felt about that.
Well, Ralph knows now what he's working with, doesn't he, really? I mean, he's going to... That's why he's got 6 months, and that's why he's moving upstairs, I think, based on today. And parts of that game were, I've written, amazingly, taken notes again. Tom, I don't normally do this, by the way, but I've taken notes. Well, I just thought we were disorganised first half, and I've just written just very disjointed, really. It was like we were playing on a really, really small pitch. And I know all pitches have to be a minimum size, apart from Chelsea's, in the Premier League. But we look really disjointed, and I've got my views on the penalty as well, which I don't think many of you will agree with. But Ralph's got his work cut out, but we knew that anyway. We've had 2 years of being disorganised, so Ralph's got some work to do now, and now he'll probably be up all night working on. Well, hopefully he is.
Yeah, he's not going to get a lot of sleep, is he? Ralph.
I feel sorry for Benny. Can I just say I feel sorry for Benny travelling all that way, because he's going to get soaked on the way home.
He is, yeah.
That's a long way. Norwich is miles from everywhere.
It is. Carrow Road is very far from everywhere. You're absolutely right. Poor Benny. He's going to have to trouble back in lots of rain. You're absolutely right. But look, we got the win ultimately, and 3 points is 3 points at the moment.
Moving on and all that.
Ronan, good to have you with us, buddy. Result is what matters. Another win and another clean sheet. Absolutely right. Andrew, good to have you back on again, mate. I'm surprised you weren't at the game today, but as Neil has alluded to, it's a little bit far, right?
Yeah, a bit too far. One wasn't able to get a ticket. I know you said at the start, well, Ronaldo saved us, but you got to give credit to De Gea as well. He saved us.
Yeah, he was fantastic today.
I mean, it was like United just started slow compared to last week where we was out the traps. It was like a bit of a return to the old days under Solskjaer. It was like moving the balls slowly, and it just allowed Norwich to get a foothold in the game as well. It's just a reminder it's going to take Rangnick time to get his methods across to the players as well. And I mean, we're the only Premier League side not to have scored in the opening 15 minutes of a game this season. So we need to obviously start faster and try and score early. I mean, our attack was so out of sync. I mean, we were stretching Norwich and spaces were opening up. It was just that final third. We was like just not getting the ball through. And there was points. I think there was one point Sancho was on the ball. He was taking too many touches. I was like, just get the ball in, cross it, shoot it. And I'm like, just do something with it. It was just, I mean, Norwich did try to put us under pressure. And I thought, especially first half, I thought McTominay was trying to get us, get the ball forward, but then it just wasn't working properly. And the mid space was opening up. Second half, we seemed to be coming into it more. And then obviously Ronaldo got the penalty, which he just tucked away, which got us the win. And I mean, De Gea, he just seems to be back to his best. I mean, it was just unreal, some of those saves. I just thought after when Ronaldo scored and Norwich had a chance, I thought, we're going to concede here and we're going to just falter again. So let's say a real grind of a performance we had to pull out against Norwich. So, and just say it's going to be work in progress, and we'll just have to see how Ralph deals with the players. I mean, there's a few players that didn't put in such a good performance, i.e. Rashford, but let's say time to work with him on that one. So let's say on to the next game on Tuesday.
Certainly is a work in progress. And look, you know, Ralph's come in. We can't expect miracles after only a few games. And I think we should just be pleased with the fact that we've got a couple of wins under him and under Carrick and whatever. And we should be very pleased with that. Brendan with a damning comment: changing the manager just not change our kryptonite. I'd love to know what our kryptonite is. But yeah, he's not wrong. John, good to have you in the comments, buddy. Greenwood should start ahead of Rashford in the next match. Just hope Ronnie and Greenwood pass to each other. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think there was a lot of criticism of Rashford today. Marcus, talk to me about Rashford. How did you feel he fared today? I feel that he's not been back to his best at all. His decision making obviously being a big thing. But he just looked really poor today. I know there was a number of players that played poor, but Rashford in particular. And I know Sancho wasn't particularly good, but I was very surprised to see him come off. I think he's still looked one of our better players and the most dangerous going forward. But talk to me about your thoughts on Rashford.
Yeah, I think Rashford and Sancho weren't that good today, but Rashford was the worst player on the pitch. And I've been defending Marcus Rashford for a very long time now, but I'm starting to run out of excuses because I'm honestly worried. Like, as an avid, Rashford fan, I'm worried. I don't think that this can be down to, he had a bad injury and, he's taking time to come back to fitness and all of that nonsense. Like, now I think this is Rashford now, and unless he can somehow turn it around, get a good run of games, I don't know where you go from here. Plus, he's had the opportunities. It's not like a case of, he's played one game every 6 months and every time he's got an opportunity, he just hasn't taken it. Like, he's been starting game in, game out since he came back. And this was my concern initially with Rashford. Like, this is why I said, even on this show, I can't remember after which game it was, but I think when Rashford was returning, I said, even though I love Marcus Rashford, he should not walk back into that United team. He should ease his way in and he should work for his spot in the team. So I think that's a huge problem. And it's going to be interesting to see how Rolf solves that problem. And I think the reason why he took off Jadon Sancho instead of Marcus Rashford is I think he wanted a change in terms of in the number 10 positions and the width. He wanted more creativity from the wide areas. So it wouldn't have made sense to take off Rashford since he's playing in a 2 as a striker, which is another issue entirely. Maybe he should have taken off, sorry for hitting the mic, but maybe he should have taken off Rashford for Greenwood. Like, maybe that would have made sense, and then take off Sancho for someone else. But the fact that he hooked Sancho first obviously sends mixed messages to us who are watching, because we're like, whoa, what's going on here then? Are you saying that Sancho is worse than Rashford? I'm pretty sure it has to do with their positioning, because I don't think Sancho can play in a front 2 next to Ronaldo, obviously. So if Sancho gets taken off, then, it's obviously for creative reasons. And I don't think Sancho was that bad. At least he tried, I can't say the same for a lot of other players, so that's my thoughts.
Yeah, good points, well made. Yeah, I think people are very quick to jump on Sancho because he's not created the chances, provided the assists and scored the goals. But I honestly feel he's been one of our most consistent players this season. That obviously doesn't mean that he can't be hooked off at any point, and I agree with your points, actually. I think it would have probably been better to see Greenwood come on for Rashford. There must have been a particular reason why Sancho come off. But yeah, just an all-round poor performance today. Very, very disappointing. I'm pleased we won. It saves my record, as you know very well, Marcus. Tom, I haven't had you on one of my shows before. I'm not sure whether this is your AFU debut, but welcome, mate. Good to have you on. Stage is yours. Talk to me about your thoughts on the game, mate.
Yeah, cheers, guys. It is my AFU debut, actually. I haven't been on before. I've been with the team, but not on this sort of reactionary thing. Look, I think everybody's hit the nail on the head so far. It wasn't a great performance. First half, I thought we were so terrible. We were so slow. We weren't at it. We didn't come out the traps like we did against Palace. And whether that's down partly to the fact of these guys have had a break, could be. I think it was the right decision, but I do think, like I said so many times, if you're going to play a new system, you've got to consistently play these guys and go with what you think is best, regardless of what game it is. It could be a nothing game. But yeah, again, as I said, first half, I don't think we were very good. Second half, I thought we were a little bit better. But again, I was so disappointed. I got called out on Twitter because I thought, I got told my head is up my ass because, I said, look, this isn't what I expected. Ralph cannot be happy with what he saw. And he can't be. There's no way Ralph Rangnick's going to sit back and go, yeah, do you know what? All right, we won. That's fine. On to the next one. He won't. No way. That's just not what he expects from this team, what we saw today. And I think we were lucky. And to be honest, I thought largely unlucky on Norwich. I think without David De Gea today, I think we'd be having a much different conversation than what we are now. Neil mentioned about the penalty earlier. I thought it was a penalty. When you try and choke slam a player, it's going to happen, isn't it? You're going to give that as a bit of a doubt. But again, it's one of them performances that we've got the result we wanted. We've got 3 points on the board, another clean sheet. Ralph's only the second ever manager now to have a clean sheet in both of his first 2 games. What more can we really ask? And a day where our rivals had their ball fall for them, I think it fell for us today, and we got away with one, in my opinion. But look, it doesn't matter whether you win 1-0 scrappy or 1-0 and dominate the game, but don't take other chances. A win's a win. We take it, we move, and it's on to Tuesday night.
Absolutely, yeah, good points, well made. Ellis, I think we've got another debut as well today. We had a load of debuts midweek. Now we've got 2 today. What were your thoughts on the game, buddy?
First of all, thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure to be on. Apologies. I thought we were quite passive, especially in the first half. I think Norwich were the aggressor throughout the game, to be honest. I think there was no fluidity going forward in our attacks. I think Rashford and Sancho weren't working together in that sort of inverted sort of left-hand side position. I think we're lucky to win. Then again, 3 points. We move on to Tuesday and hopefully get some more points there. But it was not a vintage Manchester United performance, but a win's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't vintage at all. And you know what? I was sitting there screaming at the TV all day today, just hoping that, you know, we wanted to see that high press. We wanted to see that high pressure, and we didn't get that. And I thought, you know, maybe it's going to be now, maybe we're going to get into it. And it just never came to fruition at all, did it? Really disappointing. But as you say, and Tom, you made a very good point, and we've all kind of said this, 3 points to 3 points. At the moment, he's going to be looking to just keep the goals down. We've conceded a huge amount this season. Obviously, we're in 2 particular games at least, and many more. Well, 3 actually, Watford as well. And he'll just be looking to solidify that defensive line and then work on that press. And it was a complete contrast to what we saw against Palace, even though that was only a 1-0 as well. But sometimes, you know, the better teams grind out these results, and that's something to certainly work on. So, Neil, talk to me about your penalty issue you have. I felt it was a stone wall, obviously being a biased United fan. Obviously, we got the goal from it and we've come out with 3 points from it. But what were your thoughts on that penalty decision?
Well, as you know, Mark, I don't like to swear, so I won't. But all I'll say, I do like to swear.
That's an oxymoron if I've ever heard one.
Yeah. And says the man who said it. But if that penalty would have been awarded against us, we would have led the show with that penalty. Max Aarons is about, 12 years of age? Probably weighs about 8 stone wringing wet. And apparently he yanked a 6'2" bloke down who's about 15 stone and about 2, bit like myself, 16 stone, 2% body fat, yanked him to the ground in the penalty box, and it was a stonewall penalty. Mark. I want to quote you on that in the future.
I do. I think there's a lot more logistics and things.
No, there's no logistics in the penalty. You're not at work. You're not at work. You're not at work talking. I've got to move that cart and that pallet. I've got the forklift truck. That pallet needs to go on there, and it needs to go to put it on that truck. Goes to that warehouse. Don't give me logistics, cobblers. See, I nearly swore.
You did, and very well.
If that
penalty there, mate. No,
if that penalty would have been awarded against us,
I totally agree. I do agree with you, and we would have led with that. However, you know, this is what happens being fans for Manchester United. This is what happens.
You asked me to give my opinion.
Go on. You go first.
Yeah, because I haven't got your mute button, but you've got one for me, by the way. Yeah, don't I know that from the past? So, if that penalty had been awarded against us, we would have led the show with VAR as a pile of... Because... there you go. Because at first glance, that looked dodgy. That looked a proper dodgy penalty. Because I've been out with girls that go down quicker than Ronaldo did there. And he just chucked his legs in the air and he went down like, I didn't swear. You said don't swear. Didn't do it. Point is, that wasn't a stonewall penalty, Mark. We got the penalty, so you move on. It always evens itself out. My worry was after that, Van der Beek gave a so-called free kick away when he wasn't within 6 inches of the guy. That was shown. And I had a feeling that was going to lead to something. I thought that was the evening it up. We got away with it. We scored. I mean, once he stepped up, regardless of how good Krul is, it was a superb penalty. But we were just in general poor. I mean, Lionel, he's correct. We were poor. He literally took the words right out of my mouth, and I hate the word literally, as you all know that. By the way, Tom and Ellis, don't we have to get them to do initiation when they do their first show?
Not today. No, we don't do that.
Well, Mark,
which is
we'll
unfortunate.
talk about that offline. Next time they're on, we'll sort that out, Mark.
Yeah, we will. We certainly will. Don't get too scared, guys.
Get scared. Get really scared.
Just to put my 2 pennies in about that, you're absolutely right. If it had been the shoe had been on the other foot, we would have led with that. There's no doubt about it. But I think the reason why we would have led with that is because we're United fans, right? We get frustrated about those sorts of things. But I do believe I couldn't care less how tall Ronaldo is, how big he is, how big the other guy is. If you are, he was
He's a good player,
unbalanced, and he did grab him round his neck and pull him down.
He's a good player, that Aaron's. He's a proper.
Yeah, I like him. I do
player,
like him as a right back. We were linked with him, weren't we, in the summer? And
he's a proper player. He is.
I want to have a look at him today. That's why that's the one thing I was looking at from a Norwich point of view. I want to have a look at him today because
he's a decent player,
and he has. I've seen him in previous games. He does look good. I thought he did
better than our 2 right backs.
I don't agree with that.
I thought Dallo was pretty good today.
I thought Dallo had another good game.
Both of them. Well, let's not start on who's the best right back because I don't want to crush you lot on live YouTube.
Andrew, do you share the thoughts as Neil's saying? Do you think it was a penalty or?
I thought it was definitely, but when a player grabs an opposition player in the box and is trying to pull him down, then you just ask him for trouble, and the referee. Yes, it went to VAR, but there was no clear and obvious error, so the referee's decision stood. I mean, Ronaldo, look, he stepped up, he took responsibility, he took the penalty like he did in the game against Arsenal. Okay, Tim Krul was trying to mess with his head and trying to.
He was being a shithouse.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, and I just thought, I know, and Tim Krul's good at saving penalties, and I just thought, don't let him get it, because I was thinking back to like the Villa game where Fernandes and he skyrocketed it over the into the strip, and then I thought just Ronaldo just took it away, which he did. And I mean he stepped up it again, Ronaldo, and I mean just United have won 9 Premier League games this season, and Ronaldo scored in 8 of them, so he steps up when he needs to. So as much as people say, well, other people say he's past it, he's not going to. When Rangnick comes in, how's he going to survive in the team with this press? Well, Rangnick's adapting the side to work around him. So he has Rashford alongside him. Okay, Rashford had a poor game today, but it seemed like when Greenwood came on, it was like, okay, you just need them to link up more and get that chemistry. Because like with Rashford as well, he was like taking too many touches, or he could have shot where he could have all passed. Whereas people argue when Greenwood, he just takes the shot and doesn't look up and pass. So it's like he's got to get, it's things that have got to be worked on. So, but say Ronaldo, he's one of those players that you'll have him in your side. Okay, the chances are hard for him to come by, and he's getting frustrated. But you leave him on for 90 minutes, and he can pop up in the 92nd minute and give you a goal. So he's there for us.
This is why you have him on the field, and exactly it happened today. And Brendan makes a very good point here. The only debate is why we needed a penalty in order to win the match, and he's absolutely spot on. We, coming into today, I was really confident. Norwich sitting bottom of the league, and we make it hard for ourselves. And I really want us to get 3 or 4 goals. This was an opportunity today to really show and get excited about what Rangnick is bringing to the team, and that just didn't happen today. But fortunately, penalty or not, Neil, we come out 1-0 winners, and that's what counts. Ellis, would you start Rashford? Do you think he needs a bit more time out? I know he's obviously had his injury problems, but he's just not looked the same since coming back. And I really feel that we've got to start playing Greenwood. I mean, you saw it midweek. Greenwood was a cut above the rest, and he was excellent and scored an absolute worldie midweek. And I really feel that this is his time to have that chance to start up front with Ronaldo.
Yeah, I would definitely drop Rashford for the next game. I think his product's been lacking for quite a few months, especially since he's come back, and it's just not really been the same. I thought his on the ball movement and off the ball movement wasn't very good tonight. I think his decision making was poor, and I would like to see Greenwood start on Tuesday. I wouldn't know if you felt the same, but I was a little bit surprised to see Sancho coming off for Greenwood. I didn't think Sancho was amazing, but I certainly thought he was better than Rashford. I don't know what everyone's thoughts on that were, but I was a bit surprised that Sancho came off instead of Rashford.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. We did briefly speak about that earlier in the show, but yeah, I was surprised to see that. But you know, it is what it is, and everyone's got to take their chances. I've seen so many. Listen, I'm not going in on Rashford. I love the guy. I think he could be a world class player if he can sort out his decision making, but he just hasn't been on the boil. But I've seen a lot of people say today that, you know, he was one of our most dangerous players. Now, I understand where you're coming with this, in the fact that, you know, you're going to run at players, but he loses the ball so often. And that, for me, is not good enough. You want to be able to have a player that can take on those players, run at defenders, and actually get a successful take on. And I saw nothing like that today, and that's what frustrates me a lot. Marcus, obviously, we've got a run of games now where we should be getting lots of wins. You know, we've got 8 or 9 games before we play West Ham, 7 or 8 games before we play West Ham, and we should be getting the majority of these. Now, we've come out with 3 today, but if we play like that going forward, we're certainly going to allow ourselves to come unstuck and maybe not get the points that we need. But how do we change this now? I mean, hopefully Rangnick goes in on them today, because he couldn't have been happy with what he saw.
Yeah, I think there was 2 issues coming into today's game. Number one, we all know that video analysis is great, but it's not the end all be all. You still have to practice and put the things into, you know, the principles into practice. That's number one. So we need to give Rangnick time, which is an obvious point. But number two, I think people don't realize that Crystal Palace played a low block. They played very compact, they played very deep, which allowed us to be on the front foot and take the initiative. Norwich don't play like that. Like, Norwich unafraid. And some people may call it naive, similar to Leeds, but they play football. They come at you. And I think United aren't ready to play a counter-pressing system that's suited towards teams that play like Norwich. If Norwich had sat back, we would have been pressing all over them. We would have looked like, you know, Rangnick's, you know, amazing German Reds. But I think that's what killed us today. We didn't know what to do. And clearly, the players haven't been trained. And the whole point of training is so that it's second nature. You don't think about it. As soon as the other team does something, you react, and you react the way you've been doing it in training, and you have a different, you know, plan for every team based on how high they play up the pitch, etc., etc. So I think that's the biggest issue. I think Rangnick is going to need time. I think it's going to be very messy. And I think another big concern today is we saw a lot of old habits. We saw a lot of old habits from some individuals. Rashford, again, running into blind alleys. Bruno losing the ball a lot, which is an issue that he's had. But today, I believe in the first half, he only had 65% pass completion rate, which is pretty bad. You know, McTominay defensively, I thought he was all right, but going forward, again, the passing accuracy was just not there. I thought Fred was decent, but did he do enough? I don't know, you know, and as a team, I think we're going to have to figure this out and just take the roller coaster as it comes, because I don't think you can expect Rangnick to come in and fix all these issues. I think it's unfair, personally. I think anybody who expects Rangnick to come in over the next 6 months and completely transform this team, it's like, you know, he's an interim, you know, at the end of the day, he's an interim. It's not like we're hiring him for the next 5 years to turn us into a dynasty and a treble-winning team. He's an interim. He's here to steady the ship. So, you know,
yeah,
that's what I think about Ollie, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
How did that? Let me know how that works out.
Yeah, exactly. Been and gone now. Yeah, you made some good points there. I think that we do seem to get caught up in this you know, takeover and him coming in, and we expect things overnight. And I think obviously he started brilliantly against Palace, and everyone just gets caught up in it, don't they? And you're absolutely right. It's going to take a bit of time, and these games at the moment, especially midweek when he changed the whole 11, are times to really analyse what we've got and what he wants to see and how we improve. Brendan with a comment here. Rangnick will have to solve the same issue Ollie had. We don't have a midfield that can dominate and dictate matches. We have a great squad but lack spine, which is absolutely right. I mean, there's lots of talks about getting in the midfielder that we've been after for so bloody long now. What seems like the Ferguson days, quite honestly. We were always on about getting a bloody defensive midfielder, or at least someone with a bit of spine, and we still haven't got that over all of these years, really, and it's disappointing to see. John's coming in here. Lucky win reminded me of the Solskjaer team where we don't play well but get a moment, which is a penalty, and win the game. This team needs to vastly improve. Absolutely spot on. Tellez at the moment, Neil, what are your thoughts on him? I think he's been pretty good the last few games. I felt he was okay today, and I'm going to come to you about this because I know that you're going to be a devil's advocate and give me something else, so go for it.
Can't you just go to Andrew now? You're
No,
so
go on, I
mean.
wanna hear from you.
I've
Go
been
on.
on his show for bloody ages, and you know I'm in love with Luke Shaw. Previous to this season, been the best player at the club for 2 years, consistently. Don't give me that Bruno. He's only been there 18 months. Shaw's been brilliant. He's had name me one player who came out the England Euro squad, starting 11, who's had a good start to the season.
Foden.
I'll give you all the rest of the show, by the way.
Declan
None of
Rice.
them.
Declan Rice.
Mason
All right,
Mount.
Foden.
well, I'm saying a player. We don't want Declan
Mason
Rice.
Mount, yeah.
Yeah, Mason Mount's not in the Chelsea team half the time. I'm saying a proper player, not who played for Cockney White Boys. I'm saying a proper player. No, see, Tellez is doing all right, but Shaw's going to get his place back because
Well, at least
you
we
want your defenders to defend, and Tellez has been doing that. Yeah, okay, he hit the crossbar with a free kick. We've all done that, by the way. Yeah, Foden, that's a fair point. But he wasn't in the starting 11. I'm talking about solid. Shaw played every chuff. Even the goalkeeper's been muck. He couldn't pull his socks up. But my point is, I'm a massive fan of Shaw. I think when we signed Shaw, I thought Shaw could get 100 caps for England. I know he had a horrific injury under Van Gaal. He dragged his way back in, and he's as brave as a lion. And I personally, I'd want Shaw at left back because I think he's a better defender than Tellez. Game in, game out, I'd go with Shaw. Actually, can I just take a little bit of a swerve here? Who does the panel think are our rivals? Where we stand in the season now, who do we think are our rivals? Do we think our rivals are the ones who are chasing the title, or do we think our rivals are the ones who are chasing fourth place? Because the top three places are nailed on.
Tom,
The top three is the top three.
I think
Tom,
our biggest rival right now is West Ham.
Yeah,
I think if
and
anybody
that's
can
how
grab
far
that
we've
fourth,
fallen,
that's
though, isn't it, Tom?
No, I don't
That's
think
my
it is,
point.
Neil.
No,
You've got to give credit to West Ham and what David Moyes has done there.
I've just said that.
I know he didn't do very good here, but look, David Moyes, what he's doing at West Ham right now.
Mark just put that one up to wind me up because that I didn't say that, Mark. Put that back up. Go on with your logistics cobblers. Shaw's form. Yeah, I didn't say it did. I said he'll get his place back eventually. Mark my words. Point is, who are our rivals now? And the fact it's West Ham shows how far we've fallen.
No,
that's my worry.
It shows how good they have been. It shows how good they have.
Rangnick's job is to get us into top four, I think that's what he's been told to do because I don't see us winning a trophy. I don't see us getting in front of one of the top three to win any of the trophies available.
Go on, Tom. You come in, mate.
Go on.
No, I'll let Andrew go in a sec because I know he's ready to go.
Yeah, because he's the one who asked the question, Mark.
It's not about how far we've fallen. You've got to look at it on the other hand. We're not battling over 8th, 9th here. How far we've fallen. We're still going.
No. I'm not saying that, Tom.
And David Moyes has done a great job. They're picking up great results and they're playing some excellent football. And that shows how much they've come on. Like, that shows how much West Ham are getting results. Look at them. They're flying in the Europa. It's fantastic. I don't think it's much about how we've fallen. It's the fact that they've come up. But I do get what you're saying. And you're saying, what's our realistic target? Of course, it's top four. We're miles off the top three. We have been since we got smashed by Liverpool. We've been away from that. That's not our target. Our target is fourth. And quite rightly, it should be. It's fourth now. and there's no reason to think why it shouldn't be. Why should I get the ambition side of it? You've got to be going for top to winning league and challenging titles, finishing top 2 at minimum.
But we're in the position we're in at the moment. We can start that next season.
Exactly. Look, we're in a situation where we've been shafted for so many years now. We're getting back. We are going to get back to where we could be, but it's a process. We've got to just deal with what we've got to do. So I do get your frustration. I understand your frustration, but the fact is, I think you've got to put respect on what West Ham are doing. You've got to understand where we're at. We're all right. We finished second, all right, a couple of seasons ago. Fair enough, but everybody else around us were crap then. Do you know what I mean? It's all moved. We knew that Chelsea were going to come back with Tuchel. We knew that Pep's at City doing what he does. Liverpool are great when they're fully fit. We knew that was going to happen, and it's happening now, and they're picking up results with it as well. So I think our mindset now is top 4. We've got to finish fourth, absolutely, and don't look anything further. Go and get results like you did today. Go get results like we did against Palace. Pick up these wins. Doesn't matter if it's ugly. It doesn't matter if it doesn't look great to the eye. A win's a win. A clean sheet's a clean sheet. Good sides that go on to win titles, pick up results when they need them. That's what we did today. That's what we did last week. That's what we've done so far. And we're early days in an era that could be the closest thing that we've got to stability in a very long time. Sorry, Andrew, it's on you.
No, they're very good points, mate, and I totally agree with that. Andrew, you've been going red in the face, my man, and I do apologise. You go ahead.
Yeah, just on the Teller, Shaw, I agree with Neil. Shaw has been one of the best players for the last couple of years, and up to the Euros he had been, and then this season he's had a few issues like injuries, and then the 2 concussions he's had, and he's not been in great form. But bringing Tellers in, that was to provide competition for Shaw, and that made Shaw, up his game as well. So Shaw's not obviously. He was on the bench today, but you got to give Tellers his chance, because he's saying to Shaw, well, look, you need to step up now again, and you can get back in the side. I think Rangnick said, before the game, well, the players played well last week against Palace, so I'm going to stick with the same side. So there's nothing I saw that was quite wrong. So, I mean, sure, I think he will get back into the side eventually, but I just think Tellers deserves his chance at the moment. So Tellers, well, he did have one moment in the game today. I thought he gave the ball away and we could have conceded, but that was the only mistake I could see he made. But in terms of you're talking about our realistic aims this season as well, I mean, I always think at the start of the season, United, we should be challenging for the title. I always believe that. We should be going for that title. Okay, it hasn't started well the season, and okay, realistically at the moment, the aim is to get back to top 4, but I always want better for United. I just think we should be winning trophies. Okay, it's not a divine right. We should be at least challenging for these trophies as well. So, but yeah, there's a long way to go in the season. So we'll say next run of fixtures, well, on paper, we should be getting, well, a good number of points and climbing back towards the top 4. And then once we're back in the top 4, then see from there how far we are away from the top 3. And we might be able to catch, I don't know, 3rd or 2nd, who knows? But let's say a long way to go.
Yeah, a long way to go indeed. And this is it. It's all about steadying the ship. My dog is coughing, about to be sick of it, I think, but we'll carry on. Yeah, just looking at the table here. Listen, a few weeks ago, we were 10th. It wasn't very pretty at all. Now, I know this isn't... Listen, we'll get so many people in the comments probably and outside that will say, this is Man United, we should be aiming for the top. And absolutely, I agree with that. But I think Tom makes a very good point that it's not an overnight process. And we've got to sort of look at where we are at the minute. We were 10th a couple of weeks ago and we're now sitting in 5th. Now, granted, West Ham have got a game in hand, but that's looking a lot prettier, right? And our form's far better than what it was previously. And you can only thank Ralph for that. Let me just stop that a second. Ellis, talk to me about Fred and McTominay today. I think Ollie Outers must be absolutely kicking themselves at the minute to see those two still on the team sheet. But I thought that they were okay. I think Fred is still looking like an improved man. Gave away the ball a couple of times, but I thought he was pretty solid today. But give me your thoughts on those two today.
If you'd have asked me about 4 months ago what I thought of Fred and McTominay, I'd have told you they're absolutely useless under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. However, I do believe that Fred is our defensive midfielder. I think we've seen a new side of Fred under Rangnick. I think there were signs there that there was a player in there under Solskjaer, but the system wasn't exactly around his needs. We know Fred's not good on the ball, and Solskjaer was predictably asking him in a 4-2-3-1 to be the distributor because McTominay's not got that in his game either. And that's really I think under Rangnick we've seen a high pressing, more mobile Fred, and we're reaping the benefits for it. You see the way he played against Palace. I liked his ball retention today. I thought he was on it, and I think today they were very good. Payne's little bit. I don't really think McTominay's up to it, but I thought today I've got to give credit where credit's due, and I think they were probably one or two of our best players on the pitch today. I thought they worked really well. I thought the three midfield were neutralised by Fred and McTominay. That Norwich had a little diamond with Gilmore. I thought we handled it very well.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think they were two of our better players today. And I think the point of this system that Rangnick is trying to instill is that you don't need to be as defensive from your two middlemen if you are pressing high and if you are pushing those wing backs out to force errors. And I think that that's the way. And actually, those two probably are two of the better players for that. And I think that you will see them as the season goes on. James, agreeing with you as well, two of the best three players on the pitch. I'd like to know who the third was. Thought Scott and Fred did okay. Need to say Fred did a few nice balls. They did. One he played through to Rashford and one to Bruno, both in the second half. He absolutely did. Vince not as singing his high praises as much as everyone else, but Fred isn't nearly a great player, but he just lacks elite quality. I think that it's just the simple things that Fred gets wrong sometimes, giving the ball away, and I'm hoping that obviously with the new faces that we brought in, and obviously Rangnick being the number one man, we'll iron those creases out, and we'll see a better Fred and McTominay going forward. Yeah, Marcus, do you agree with that? Any other players that particularly caught your eye or you're worrying for?
Yeah, I think Fred and McTominay, like I said, they were okay. I don't think they were amazing today. I think Fred was good and McTominay was okay. And I think the thing about McTominay and Fred is, as I said, when a new manager comes in, clean slate. Clean slate. Everything I said about McFred before, clean slate. Just erase it. It's the reset button. So I think I'm interested to see how they do under the new manager. I think you're 100% right when you say that Fred does lack when it comes to the fundamentals. He's close ball control, he's trapping, he's passing sometimes is a bit lackluster. But I'm okay with players making mistakes. I think sometimes we are too demanding of our midfielders and we're not honest about what they are. Like, I see a lot of people complaining about Bruno losing the ball, and today it was bad. But in general, Bruno's always going to lose the ball. So complaining about it every week is insanity.
We used to have this conversation over a year ago. Neil will back me up on this. Andrew will back me up on this. Bruno is a risky player. He is a ball progressor. And in that, he's going to play the forward passes. And in that, it's a risk for a reason. And you're going to give the ball away. So I am sick to death of seeing Bruno criticised like he is. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, he gives the ball away. But that's his job. Go on, carry on, Marcus, and then I'll bring you in, Tom.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, to add on to that, like, we need to understand what these players are. I don't expect McTominay and Fred to have an 80% pass percentage. I don't expect that. What I expect from them is to at least try play the forward pass. And that's what I like about McTominay recently, well, not recently, but today specifically, is that he at least should look like he was trying to play the forward pass, like he's trying to correct some of the issues of the pass. For me, if you're losing the ball a lot, especially if you're playing forward passes, it tells me that at least you're trying. So yes, I'm not happy that you're losing the ball, but at least you're trying. What I hated under Ollie was a lot of these players went hiding. They would play sideways passes, almost like it's a hot potato in the back four, and try to give the responsibility to someone else. No, just play the pass, play your game. You're going to make mistakes. It's okay, but at least try and show me that you're actually trying to be a better player. Just one last thing, Delo. I thought Delo was okay today. I really do. Actually good today. I think okay is an understatement. He was good today. And I think the thing about Telles and Delo, I understand why people prefer Shaw, and I understand why some people might prefer Wan-Bissaka. But I'll always make the example of Liverpool with Trent, right? Like, you don't need a fullback that is that good defensively. As long as you improve structurally as a team and you improve systematically, those weaknesses won't really be a huge issue. Now, playing Telles and Delo might be a concern, but playing one of them for me is not an issue, because when you look at Liverpool, Trent is not that good defensively. And a lot of people go on about, oh, Trent's been exposed, this, and the other. Klopp doesn't care. He doesn't care because what he offers going forward is so much more valuable than a last-ditch slide tackle every now and then. So it's about give and take. What do you want? Do you want two fullbacks who are solid defensively but offer nothing going forward, or do you want at least one who offers something going forward and another who's solid defensively and can do a job? You gotta have give and take. I think too many times we want something that's perfect. We want a right back who can cross the ball, can be good going forward, but then also is good defensively. It's like, what do you want? And I understand some people prefer a defensive right back, and that's all they care about, and that's cool. But for me, I'm happy with Tillis and Delo. And I think they actually suit the Rangnick system perfectly, because if we're going to press up high anyways, we need people who are good on the ball. That's not to say Shaw can't attack. Like I said, everyone's preferences is different. So that's my 2 cents on the fullback debate.
You are absolutely spot on. And I absolutely wholeheartedly agree with that. You can't have the best of both worlds sometimes. I think the modern game has changed a lot. We use this terminology, we talk about this all the time. But generally speaking, back in the day, you'd want to have a defensive unit at right and left back. And that doesn't happen so much. And you're absolutely spot on. Klopp doesn't give a shit. And that's because they provide so much going forward. And I think that if you're going to get that from Tellez, as you said, and Dallo, then that's what you want to see. Lots of people in the comments agreeing with you. Just wanted to say before I move on to you, Tom, sorry buddy, thanks for all the comments on that today. Get a like on the video, it's really important to us. We want to see as many likes as possible, get involved, and really good conversations. Tom, take it away, my man.
I just want to rewind it a little bit, going back to what we said about Fred and McTominay. I thought they probably two of the best midfielders. Obviously, they're the best that we got at the minute. Obviously, there's an argument for Pogba to come in there, Donny to come in there. But if you take them away today, it's a lot worse than what it would be. And they were the two better players today. I agree with the man that said about that they were the two of the best. Yeah, James, it was saying that they were the two of the best free players on the pitch today. You mentioned devil's advocate earlier. I'm going to play it a little bit here, and you're not going to like it, Mark, because you just said about it. But Bruno Fernandes today,
I'm ready.
I hate it when everyone says, "Oh, you can't bring Bruno off." Bring him off. I thought he was horrendous today on the ball. His ball control was all over. His passing again. I get what you're saying about if you're going to play forward passes, there is a risk. But sometimes I look at the balls he plays, I think you didn't need to do that. I feel that the blanket on Bruno, because he's been so good, is the fact of people are scared to say something. They're scared to criticize him a little bit because he was the Lord and Savior when he came in. For me, I don't see it like that. He has been brilliant. Don't get me wrong. He's been brilliant. And his goals have gone, his assists have gone. I don't care as long as he's doing the other fundamental stuff. But for me, I feel today, I looked at him and I thought, and I saw it against Palace as well. Does he fit under the Rangnick regime? Because I feel a little bit now of when you're playing the way Rangnick wants to play, I feel a little bit that Bruno might struggle to adapt to it a little bit. But I think today, for me personally, keep it today. I was a little bit disappointed with his performance today.
Yeah, listen, I don't disagree. It's a very fine line, isn't it, between Bruno having a good and a bad game. I think you have to sort of take everything that you can from that, in the fact that it's risky. And I do agree that sometimes you can look at it and go, oh, fucking hell, Bruno, why have you done that? I understand it. And listen, this is what this channel's all about, fair debates and everyone's opinions. And I appreciate yours, Tom, absolutely. Andrew, do you agree with that? Do you think Bruno maybe doesn't fit the system? Now, what I will say to you is I saw a stat a few weeks ago to suggest that our highest presser is Fred, our second highest presser is Pogba, and our third is Bruno, which would suggest to me that Bruno can play in this system. I think we saw that last weekend. And it also gives the opportunity for maybe Pogba, but I think he's probably on his way out. But yeah, do you agree with that, Andrew?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, Bruno can it can be frustrating at times, but he's the creative outlet. He's trying to get the player when he's getting forward. He's trying to play people in, and obviously sometimes the passes he tries don't work, but at least he's trying to do something and get United on the attack as well. So I mean, Bruno can fit into a Rangnick system. Even before Rangnick, he was the one. You can see it in games. He was the one pressing. None of the other players would come in with him. It was like, well, you can't leave it all to Bruno to do. Even though he said those stats of Fred and Pogba, I'm like, when you're watching it at Old Trafford, I was thinking it's more Bruno that was doing it than anybody else. So I say Bruno. I think there was a comment there saying he was running on autopilot. I could sort of tend to agree with that. I'm just thinking maybe he just needs a few games. Maybe he just has a rest, because I just think maybe he's get tiredness. I mean, it's to say it's a long old season, so just wanting Bruno to be firing on all cylinders with the assist and the goals as well. So I mean, if Ronaldo hadn't been on the pitch, it would have been Bruno taking the penalty, and he would have hopefully he would have scored if it had been Bruno as well. So
yeah, statistically, it would say so. He would, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, yeah, Bruno. I think his form's just been, I was going to say, patchy. So, but I think it will come good again, and then we'll be firing on all cylinders.
I think this is a really good point here, actually, and I sit on this side of the fence more than the other. I have to agree. Yes. I still think we'd be screwed without Bruno at times. He helps get us together, and I absolutely agree with that. I don't think anybody could disagree, really. Perhaps you might, but I think without Bruno, we'd be far worse. I
think the last couple of seasons, without him, we probably wouldn't have finished in the positions that we did in the league. I think we might have been a bit further down, probably outside the top 4, maybe even outside the top 6, but
yeah,
that's another question.
18 months, 2 years ago, when he came in, we would be in an absolute hellhole right now. So listen, we know what he's capable of. I do think he presses very well. He's just going through a poor run of form at the minute, and hopefully we can see a different side of Bruno in a few weeks. Right, aside from, I'm going to wrap up in a minute. My blood's going low, diabetic. Sorry, I didn't need to share that, but now you know. And I'm going to have to sort that out. But listen, I want from you all very quickly, aside from David De Gea, who is your man in the match? Because he was quality today. Absolutely, I think everyone would agree with that. David De Gea got man in the match. But aside from David De Gea, who would be your man in the match? Neil?
Oh, popular opinion. I didn't think Maguire was too bad today, by the way, and he's had a right load of shit. You started swearing, Mark, so I'll just drop one.
That's fine, mate. Word. Absolutely fine.
And can I just counter what I said at the start of the show? Today showed Rangnick how far he's got to go with this squad. I wasn't having a dig.
No, I know, mate. I
wasn't having a dig. I just want to qualify, but I thought Maguire was pretty decent today, the way he marshalled the back 4. And I thought, given the conditions, given that we seem to be spending a lot of time up against a team that, let's be honest, hopefully along with Leeds and Newcastle, will be relegated. I thought Maguire was pretty decent today. And I think it was the best of a poor show, but I would go with Maguire.
I don't disagree with you, actually. You know what? It's typical United fans.
And it's not a logistical answer, because I don't believe in logistics.
I don't expect that from you, mate. Just me. Now, listen, I've seen so many comments recently about Maguire.
But you do have lovely hair, Mark.
Thanks, mate. I've seen so many comments recently about Maguire, and it does my absolute nut in when I see these people flip flop so quickly about how poor he is. And he's a good player. He's a good player, and we've seen that. And I don't know how anybody could be so reactionary and say that. And I thought he was good today. And I'd just like to say as well, Victor Lindelof didn't look very good, actually, and I was a bit concerned about him.
I think he took one in the solar plexus.
Well, I don't think
didn't he take one there at all in the solar plexus.
I don't think he had. Nobody touched him.
Nobody kept pointing at his chest, didn't you? Like he
I know, earlier. But I think that it's a more serious problem for that. So I just wanted to say I hope he gets better.
He didn't look flushed out though, because I know when my lungs collapse, I look fucked.
We'll have to wait and see on a bit more information on that, but I hope he gets better soon. Andrew, your man in the match, buddy, aside from David De Gea, please.
Yeah, I was going to say I would have given it to David De Gea, but besides him, I thought McTominay did okay, so I would give it to him. I mean, like the first half, he was looking up, getting the ball forward, and he was helping us build the play better. We were struggling in the final third, especially he played that pass into Ronaldo, and Ronaldo was like shoot, and then he cut back. I was like, but I'd have to, McTominay, I think he did all right. And also, he's like getting stuck in as well. He wasn't afraid to I'll get in there, I'll get in the tackles as well. And so, I would give it to him.
John's just giving us some information here. Thanks to this, mate. Rav said post-match Lindelof was struggling to breathe. and felt his chest, so he's going to have some tests and appears to be okay.
Must be
Heavily
Norfolk
winded, I
Air.
imagine.
Sorry?
Heavily winded, I was going to say.
Yeah, could have been something similar.
Norfolk Air.
Yeah, just so if he gets better soon. James, agreeing with you there, Scott McTominay. And I think this is another thing. I think we were just poor in the final third. We always rely on Man United to play scintillating football, and they should, but they were just poor in the final third. And I think it actually did an injustice to everybody else in the defence, Fred and McTominay and David De Gea today, and it kind of tarnishes it with the wrong brush. And I thought that those 6 players in particular were very good. It was just very poor further up the field. Ellis, good to have you on today, buddy. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, your man of the match, aside from David De Gea, please.
See, I'm actually going to go with a bit of a different one. My man of the match, other than De Gea, would probably be Diogo Dalot. I thought Dalot was very good going forward. I think he offers quite a lot more on the ball than Wan-Bissaka. And I thought he was good. I thought his positioning defensively was better than it normally was. I think it was a little bit less than Palace, but I thought he was definitely up to the task today. I like his attacking output, and I think he was, probably man of the match aside from De Gea. I thought Dalot was cracking today.
I don't disagree with that. I thought he was cracking as well. Yeah, played really, really well today. Tom?
Yeah, so I was just loading up because I have to load up on this because I'm going to get a load of stick for what I'm about to say. But for me, it was Fred, easily, without a doubt. Without a doubt, right? And here's why. I thought, stats aside, I thought he gets a lot of stick, and he played really well today. Him and McTominay, like I said, worked fantastically well. It did its job today. But Fred, yeah, he had more touches than anybody else in the game, right? Fred, there we go. He had more touches than any other United player, right? His past success was 91%, yeah? Nobody that lasted the whole game had more success passing than Fred. Dribbling, 2 dribbles, successful, 100%. Nobody else did that, okay? Battles, tackles. Nobody else won more tackles today than Fred. Fred had 7 tackles, 1 today. Second was Tellez with 4. After that, McTominay with 3. He put the work in today. The stats show it. Fred, for me, outside of De Gea, probably had one of his best games in a long time.
Yeah, well, stats don't lie, mate, and thank you very much for those. They are great stats, and he probably does deserve it. To be honest, yeah, I'm going to go to you, Marcus, quickly. Yeah, you go first, and I'll go with mine.
Yeah, I'm split between Tom and Ellis, to be honest with you, because I agree with both of them. I think Dalot was amazing, but at the same time, I think Fred was really good. And look, I understand that everyone has different opinions, because when you watch United, especially if you make fan content, you try, kind of look at all 11 players and see who is the best and all of that. But sometimes it's hard. And your biases take over. And I don't know, for some reason I saw Dalot a lot today. So yeah, I'm going to go with Diogo Dalot. Although I do think Fred was a close second if we're excluding David De Gea. McTominay is a good shot, but again, I just think Fred was a little bit better than McTominay, because I think Fred, his interceptions are so key in the middle of the park. Like, he's pressing, he's going to be a different animal under Rangnick. Like, I think he's finally found his Brazilian passport. I know that's a bit of an old joke, but yeah, I'm going to go with Dalot, then Fred is a close second.
He might sign for Palmeiras, though. That's the trouble if he's found his Brazilian passport.
No, I listen, I know I sound like I agree with everyone today, but
well, you did. You started off agreeing with me, and now you've agreed with Marcus. So you
I think you've all made good points. Particularly, I thought Maguire was good today. Yeah. No, particularly Tom. Actually, I think he's come out with the stats, and I can't
just because he's the new boy.
Well, Ellis is a new boy. Ellis is a new boy.
Stats don't lie.
Stats don't lie. Exactly.
But your eyes don't lie either, Tom. I'll be ringing you in a minute, Tom. I've got your number, literally.
That's why you use both. That's why you use both. You use the eye test and stats. I'm sick and tired of people picking one or the other. Why can't you just use one?
Marcus, I know where you live. I can get a flight.
Okay. All I'm going to say is pray for Tom and pray for Marcus this evening.
Mark, let's hear from you, mate. Come on.
Yeah, so yeah. Listen, I don't disagree with any of you. I think Maguire was actually quite good today. I thought Dalot looked exceptional, and he has been good for the last 3 games, and may that continue. But I thought Fred, and you've twisted my arm, mate. I think with those stats, you can't disagree with that. And I did think he was very good today. I thought his tenacity was great.
He's racing home to Wilma.
He's not there to create that final third ball. right? And I think he did his job very well. Listen, thanks very much for tuning in today, guys. Thanks for all the comments. Been great stuff today. And thank you all 5 of you, for coming on. And I hope you can now sleep peacefully tonight, knowing that United have got the 3 points, and we don't have to go into Sunday with the worry of whether we're going to win or not. But listen, yeah, thanks very much. We've got AFU Uncut tomorrow. I think it's
Tomorrow.
the last
what
one
sort of work's
tomorrow.
that? Tomorrow.
It's the last one. Karthik's unfortunately leaving us, and he's going to be taking the reins for his final Uncut. So I want everybody that's been here today, including you on the panel, to join in tomorrow night because it's going to be a good one. But yeah, listen, thank you very much for joining in,
NFL's on.
and we'll see you very soon.